Hey guys, welcome back to The Bright Side. Macy here, the Bright Side Girl, and today I am doing my book to movie adaptations part 2. I have 5 books to movies to show you and talk about today. I'll link the playlist for the book to movie adaptations down below in the description, so if you are interested in seeing my thoughts on certain book to movie adaptations, you can click on that. Basically, as I read 5 books and watch their movie adaptations, I do a video for you guys. And I've only been doing this with stuff that I have read and watched in the last year, because if it's something that I read a long time ago or watched a long time ago, my opinions and things aren't like fresh in my mind. So I've only been doing this with things that I have done recently. So even if I have watched the movie like a long time ago or read the book a long time ago, I have watched it again recently. First up, I want to talk about The Princess Diaries and The Princess Diaries 2, which I think is Princess in the Spotlight. I don't physically own these books, but I recently read them this summer for the very first time. I did watch the movies for these before I read the books. So I have a lot of nostalgia around these books and movies because I watched them as a teenager growing up. Absolutely loved them. I loved Anne Hathaway. They are so fun. I'm pretty sure they're Disney. I'm not entirely positive, but it's such a Disney chick flick fun movie. Especially the second one is more ridiculous and like chick flicky and over the top. Like the first one, it wasn't quite as bad, but they have that kind of classic Disney feel, like the Freaky Friday and just, I don't know, just things like that. So I personally loved them, and I read the books I listened on audio for the first time this summer because they were narrated by Anne Hathaway. The first 3 are, and then the series is like 12 books long. The physical books I only gave like 3.5 stars because I did enjoy them, but they're definitely for teenagers, which sounds silly because I read a lot of YA, but just the way that they were written and the language and the slang and all that stuff, it was just a little bit tough for me because of how teenager it is, and they're written entirely in diary format, where of course the movies are not. So she's just like, "Dear Diary," and then she says something about her day, and then she signs her name, and then that's it, and there's no like, there is dialogue between people, but it's like through her writing in her diary, which I'd never read anything like that before, especially not the whole way through, so that kind of threw me off a little bit too. But they're cute if you have nostalgia around Anne Hathaway and the movies. Like, at least in my head the voice was correct because I was used to Anne Hathaway being Princess Mia. So if you're not familiar with that, it is about a 15-year-old girl that finds out that her dad is royalty of a small country. It's not a real country, but she finds out that she is secretly a princess. So she basically, her grandmother comes and then she has to like learn how to be a princess, and she's very clumsy and not very pretty, or at least by like typical standards, and they have to do all these makeovers and like fun girly things. So that's just the gist of the story. I don't want to spoil the book or the movie. There are quite a few differences, obviously, like there always are. The first one runs pretty close to the same. I mean, it's in diary format and then it's not with the movies, so that part is like hugely different, but for the most part they're pretty similar, at least the vibe, and it caught the essence of the book from what you feel like reading it. But in my opinion, I got the essence of the story from the movies, so I may be way off point here. The love story is definitely very different. Like, the character of the guy is very different in the movie than he is in the book. In the movie, he's a lot more like dorky and not as cute and like all those things. In the book, he's like really attractive and really fun and like confident and stuff, which is not really the movie version. So anyway, really good. The second one doesn't follow it at all. It follows more of the third book. Kind of not, because the love interest changes and, you know, I don't know. It's just like really silly about like the crown and her learning things. And basically the first book and the first movie are very similar, but the second one, it's not at all. But if you like the books, then you'll probably like the movies because they're just fun and they're silly and they're chick flicky. Next up, I want to talk about Ready Player One by Ernest Cline. This is technically an adult book, but it's in that like cross genre where it's like almost YA, and it kind of should have been YA because we have our lead character is, I think, 17 in the book. So this one is set Everyone thinks it's dystopian, but it's not technically dystopian. But it's set in the future where things have just not been going very well and the economy has crashed and all that stuff. So we have like these trailer parks where like trailers are like stacked up on top of each other and people are living in them, and it's called the stacks, and we have our young kid, and basically things have gotten so bad that there is a wealthy guy that creates a video game called the Oasis. So it's a virtual reality video game and it's free to everyone if you can afford like the equipment, and you can go and basically live in the video game. Now some parts of it are really cool, like there's literally, you can go to high school in the virtual reality video game. This is a 5-star book, fabulous audio. It's narrated by Will Wheaton, who is just phenomenal because he's such a nerd himself. It's super, super nerdy and nostalgic of the 80s, and it's just so well done. It's so good. Basically, the creator of the Oasis dies and he puts an Easter egg in the game that is worth a fortune. If you find the Easter egg, then you get to own the Oasis and take control of it, and you get a lot of money. You're going to be like super rich. So everybody's going and trying to find that, as is our lead character. So I don't want to give away too much more, but it's super fun. I am not a huge video game person. I am like nerdy because obviously I like lots of books. And I loved this so much. I loved Armada from Ernest Cline. I just thought it was fabulous. The movie highly disappointed me, but I try not to watch movies immediately after I read the book because this always happens. I always try to separate myself from the movie and the book because just the odds of it being as good as the book or even close are very rare. So if you can separate yourself and just hope that they get the essence of the story, then you do better. But I read this so close to when we saw the movie, like watched the movie like the day after I listened to it. It really hindered my movie experience. Everyone that I was with really enjoyed it, so that's really good. So they thought it was really fun and action adventure, but there's just so much packed in here about the growth of our character and the relationships that cramming it into 2 hours, you didn't get that same feel as you did. Like, it was very insta-lovey in the movie, and the romance in here is not really. And there's like journeys that they have to take and things that have to happen, and they change a lot of stuff. I guess I enjoyed it. The ending was like kind of good. There were things that they added in to add even more action adventure, which was fine. I mean, I don't know. I didn't really like our lead character in the movie. I thought he was too good looking. Because in this one, our lead character is supposed to be like pimply and heavy set, and then things were supposed to change, and that wasn't really accurate either. And so, I don't know. I would probably watch the movie again, but it's not close, like at all, really. I don't know. It just, I want to hear what other people think about it, because the essence might have been there, and they changed a few things that actually were for the better in the movie, but I don't know. This one definitely disappointed me, but I think it was because I loved it so much, and I felt like this would have made a really good movie, and it was easy to make a good movie without changing a lot, other than the fact of the pacing, because the pacing in a 2-hour format is just not as good as, you know, it was like a 16-hour audiobook. So anyway, it's worth a watch, but it's definitely worth a read or a listen to. Then we have The Sacred Garden by Frances Hodgson Burnett. This one I'm pretty sure I read as a kid, but I can't remember. I reread this one this spring and rewatched the movie this spring, and this is one of my favorite books of all time. This might be the only book that made me cry this year. I sobbed during this book. So this one is about a little girl named Mary, and she lives in India, and her parents die when something tragic happens, and she has to go live with her uncle, I think in Ireland or England, not sure, somewhere very cloudy and gloomy. And she finds a secret garden that used to be her aunt's that passed away, and things happen with childhood adventure and magic and friendship, and she's a very spoiled protagonist. She's super spoiled, super bratty, and she kind of learns to be a new person. And it's just, this book is so ahead of its time. There's stuff that is actually like quantum physics-esque in this, about like energy and like your thoughts and like what you think affects the way that your body feels. And it's just so good. It's 5 stars. I sobbed my eyes out. There are things in here that are like personal to me, because there's a little boy character in here that has a lot of back pain, and that just resonated with me, and just the way that he like overcomes it. It's just so good. The movie is really good too. Again, it was hard for me to separate myself because I remember loving the movie as a kid. They're pretty close, like the essence is there. My husband found it very boring. I'm not sure that it holds up to the test of time. This does, but I'm not sure that the movie does, just with the way that the filming was. I think it was filmed in the 90s, and it's very dark, kind of slow and romantic, and it was boring for my husband. There's like a scene where the kids do some chanting to call like magic from the universe. In here, it's very sweet and uplifting and positive. In the movie, they made it kind of like dark and witchy, and I didn't really like that part. But overall, the essence is there, the heart of it is there. They changed some things, but not that much because it's much easier to do like children's books in movie form. So I love them both. If you're not a child of the 80s and 90s, then you might not like the movie, but I think it's worth a watch. I hope that they redo it soon because it's just such a great story. She is a fabulous writer. Then I want to talk about The BFG by Roald Dahl. This one is a kid's book, again, about a big friendly giant and a little girl that finds him, and he like whisks her off to protect her from the other giants that eat children. So very typical of Roald Dahl. He has like some scary villains and then like sweet relationships. So I think she might be in an orphanage. I can't remember exactly, but this is just a sweet, darling book. Our big friendly giant, he captures and produces dreams for a living, and he's trying to like just do his own thing while the other giants go off and eat children, and our lead character is not okay with that, so they have to go on an adventure, and it involves so many fun things. It's so fun, it's so adventurous, it's so Roald Dahl. The movie, it's really interesting because it was one of the most accurate book to film adaptations I've ever seen, but at the same time, the essence of it was different. So this one I felt like is more lighthearted and whimsical and fun, and the movie he made a little bit darker and intense and action adventure-y because I think it might have been Steven Spielberg. I'm not entirely sure, but it totally worked. Now, if you hadn't read the book, I don't know if you would like the movie because the giant has a funny way of talking that's kind of hard to understand. And I don't know if that translates well for people that haven't read the book, but my husband and I really loved it. It was beautifully done. The cinematography was amazing. The music was good. It followed the story almost exactly. It was just so well done. And very accurate. But it had more of like that dark and whimsical vibe rather than like a fun and super silly. He made it less silly. So it was really beautiful and I highly recommend it. And I saved the best for last. So now we have To All the Boys I Loved Before by Jenny Han. This is my favorite contemporary series of all time. It's very close with Sisterhood of the Traveling Pants. But this one is about a young girl who, after she has a crush, she writes letters to kind of like give herself some closure, not dating, but crushes. And she writes letters and explains everything she's feeling, and then she puts them in a hat box and considers it done. Well, somehow these letters get mysteriously shipped off and mailed to these boys, and then they start showing up. That's like a loose synopsis of it. It's not as much like that as you think it is because there's really not that many guys that are coming in and out, but it is so sweet. It's an Asian American character and her family is just the sweetest. It's about her and her sisters and her dad, and then boys and romance and growing up in high school, and it's one of the cutest books ever. It made me smile so many times. It's like just warm and fuzzy, and I want to re-listen to these. I want to listen to these on audiobook soon because I love them so much. This movie, you guys, is the best film to movie adaptation I have ever seen. It was the most accurate with the characters, the music, the essence of it, following the story, changing things that made it a little bit better. Oh, it was so good. They changed hardly anything. The things they did change totally worked. It's very easy to do contemporaries in a movie form. It was so sweet. Everyone loves it, me included. My husband even liked it, even though it was a chick flick. It's just stinking adorable. Way to go, Netflix. I hope that they do the rest of the series because they just did. I just was shocked about how good it was and how cute it was, especially since it wasn't done by like a major movie company. But I was proud, I was happy, and honestly I didn't think the previews even looked that good, but the movie was so stinking cute, and I haven't seen a truly good rom-com in a while. Like that style kind of went away, which made me really sad, and Netflix brought it back, and it was just, it was so stinking cute. I loved it so much. You gotta read it, you gotta watch it. Either way, in either order, it's fabulous. Okay, you guys, those are the 5 book to movie adaptations I wanted to review and talk about. I will be doing more of these in the future. Let me know if this is something you like. I have a ton more that I have watched and read recently, and then a ton more books that I need to read and movies that I need to watch. So hopefully you guys like this. My name is Macy, and I post videos every Monday and Wednesday and sometimes Friday and Saturday. So make sure you subscribe and hit a like and leave me a comment if you want to chat and talk, because talking about books is the best. So let me know some of your favorite film to movie adaptations, and I'll see you guys next time on the bright side. Bye!